somebody who might need to pop themselves on mute. If it's okay, we can hear a little bit of background noise. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I'm recording this session because fingers crossed, there's some really great little tips in this that you might want to come back and revisit later. And there are a few people that are not going to be able to make it. So I'm recording it for those two. So self-care magic is what we're here to talk about. I'm just going to start with a quote on self-care. Self-care is never a selfish act. It is simply good stewardship of the only gift we have, the gift we were put on this earth to cherish and spend wisely, which is this beautiful gift that we were given. So, about me. I don't know if there's many people on this call that don't know who I am, but my name is Fiona. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm a quantum transformational coach. And my sole purpose in life, after following my journey, is to guide women on a powerful journey of self-discovery, empowering them to tap into their extraordinary depths, which I will go into a little bit later, and unleash their radiant light onto the world, which will then in turn create lots of positive ripples far and wide, because we're all extraordinary and we've all got so much to give, and we all need to find that a little bit more. So my journey, why am I here talking to you all today about self-care? So I started in my life with a few little bumps on the road when I was younger that just popped me into a bit of an overachiever mentality as I grew up. And that sort of rolled on a little bit more conditioning, a little bit more as I went on, and followed into me becoming an event manager and then into an executive assistant. So you can imagine these jobs are super busy. They involve doing lots of things all at once. They involve lots of detail. And as I moved into executive assistant, I moved higher and higher to work with more and more senior people with more and more expectations. And I didn't quite know how to say no. So as I moved along in my life, I took on more, and I always gave probably 120, 130%, which was more than I had. And I was completely unaware that I was doing that. And this was when perfectionism started to show up in my life. And I put these ridiculous goals, which I could never quite get to, which was very frustrating for me. And then I had my beautiful family. And so, of course, I needed to be the perfect mother with the perfect career, with the perfect house. And over time, I fell into overwhelm, stress, and anxiety. And the issue was I had a complete lack of awareness that I was doing this to myself. So it was an over and over and over again. I kept pushing myself further and further and further. Now, the moment in my life where I realized that I might need to do something about this was actually a very beautiful celebration. It was my 40th birthday party. There are a few people on this chat now who are actually there. Now, I wasn't feeling very good at my life at that time. I knew I couldn't handle a big party, but I thought I can do a high tea. Beautiful. I had about 30 people. Absolutely wonderful celebration. I got my hair done. I got a pretty dress. I had so much love in the room. I had people spoiling me, beautiful birthday cake. My husband stood up and did a beautiful speech. I had videos from all the way across in England that people were saying how much they loved me, all these memories. Such a warm, beautiful experience. And there was I, with this, lovely smile on my face. My hair's all pretty. And I'm sitting there and I'm actually inside what I now understand to be a glass box. So all around me, you can imagine I have these walls of glass. Now, what's happening outside this glass, if you can imagine that you are looking through a window at something happening inside, you can see what's happening, but you can't really smell the things. You can't really get involved in the atmosphere. It's sort of happening over there, isn't it? You can't touch anything really. The sounds, they're a bit tinny. There's sort of something in the way. And I'm sitting there in my glass box, and everyone's sitting there looking at me going, oh, she's having such a lovely time. And I'm smiling. And inside, I feel absolutely nothing, completely numb. And what's happened to me is I've fully disconnected. I've got to a point in my life where I can't feel that warmth, that love, that connection. There's nothing there, which was really scary. But the moment that really instilled in me that I needed to make a change was I realized the thought that was going through my head was, when this is over, and I wish that would hurry up because I'm, pretending I'm having a good time here, I'm going to go home and I'm going to start that anti-anxiety medication that I got from the doctor that I was just waiting to get my 40th birthday out the way because I didn't know what effect it would have on me. But when I get home, I can start that medication and then I can numb what's going on even more. And then I was like, what am I doing? This is a life celebration. I only get one 40th birthday and I am not here. And furthermore, I'm hoping I can get further away by numbing myself even more. So it was a moment that really tipped me into, you need to do something about this. Now, for me, I didn't know what I needed to do. So it was a long process. I'm 45 now. So that was quite a long time it took me to work out, what do I need to do to turn this around? Now, if somebody had held their hand out to me then and said, I know what you need to do, I know how I can support you to come away out of that disconnection, to find yourself again and to grow into the person that you're going to grow into, it would literally have been the most extraordinary thing. However, that was my journey. I was supposed to go through that so that when I got here, I really fully understood the depth of how far people can go. So during my what do I need to do, I came across quantum coaching, and it just, within months of me being coached as a quantum coach, absolutely transformed my life. And here we go. I immediately was like, this is it. This is my calling. I can do that. I can take this out to the world. I can support women so it doesn't take them 5 years to come round on that circle. Because obviously mine was quite extreme, but we're all living these lives that have so many things and so many expectations on us. So enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about self-care and why it's so important. So self-care is really easy when you feel good. When you're eating well, when you're exercising, when you're feeling fantastic, you can keep doing those things. You feel fabulous. It's just no problem at all. But it's those times when you're stressed at work, you've got young kids and they're keeping you up at night and you're absolutely exhausted. That when you're not getting enough sleep, when you're feeling really run down, that's when self-care becomes crucial, but it also is when it's at its absolute hardest. So it's often when it gets left at the door, and that's when things can get really difficult. And what a lot of women do is they go, oh, I'm going to go get my nails done. That will make me feel better. Or I'm going to get my hair done. Or I'm going to get a facial. And absolutely, they can make you feel great. There's a bit of a short time span on that. But the issue with that is that they're external. You're not really working with this part of you, which is depleted and needs some energy and some rest and digest. So my biggest tip when it comes to starting self-care, if you really are struggling and you're not looking after yourself, is be really gentle on yourself. Because when you've been giving yourself away a lot to others, it takes a lot of time for you to feel okay about focusing on yourself. There is always guilt that creeps in. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be doing all these other things. So be really gentle on yourself and focus on just doing one thing. Maybe you're just going to try and get 3 walks in a week, or every day you're just going to make a cup of tea and you're going to take it to a really quiet spot and just drink it alone in silence, just during having that cup of tea. Just give yourself little baby steps. And the putting yourself first. So this is very hard for a lot of women because we have been taught for a very long time that we have to do everything for everybody else. And the problem, if you do everything for everybody else and you put your kids first and your work first and your relationships first, it's like driving a car with an empty fuel tank. And that's why you burn out. You literally have nothing left for yourself. You've given everything away. And the issue with that is if you truly love your loved ones, if you don't put yourself first, you will project as a magnet. You are a magnet, and whatever you're feeling, you'll project onto them. So if you've had a day where you've spent the morning, you went for a beautiful walk on the beach, and then you had a great morning at work and you did a presentation and someone was like really complimentary, and then maybe you picked your kid up after school and went for ice cream, or you had a great day. And all around you, everyone's like, yeah, we're feeling all the good vibes because you're projecting that. But if you've had a day where it's been one thing after another and you're like, it's tough, and like car broke down and this happened, and you get home and your kids are flying off the handle and your husband's cranky, and that's not because that you're making them do that, but you're projecting those feelings of frustration, stress, overwhelm, and anger, and they're picking it up. So it's really not selfish to put yourself first. In fact, it's probably the other way around. You want to be projecting those beautiful feelings onto your loved ones. Now, this is probably one of my favorite quotes I've ever come across. And I don't know if you've heard of Jim Kwik, but I am such a fan. I love him so much. So there's people out there that are super busy, right? They are firecrackers. They're on it. They're up at 6 o'clock in the morning and they do their runs, and then they go and they present all day and they do this stuff, and they don't run out of energy. In fact, they're lit up. And the reason is because often we burn out not because we're doing too much, but too much of the things because we're doing too little of the things that light us up. So if you're spending all day doing stuff that you don't particularly want to do, and you're finding you're having to push yourself to do all of that, then you will get to burnout quickly because nothing's really your thing. It's not making you feel good. It's not lighting you up. So that's a really important part of understanding that we don't have to just stop doing everything and not be busy. We can still be busy, but doing the things we love. Now, I'm just going to touch on this because we don't have enough time today to go into the depths of this, but I just want to, just because I have a whole room full of incredible women here, and I just want all the women to absorb this and take this away, because this is why I do this. So women have unfathomable depths. Now, particularly in the Western world, many women, we're suppressing our natural flow, creativity, and ability to feel deeply within our bodies. And this is happening because a lot of us are living roughly 75% in the masculine and about 25% in the feminine. So we're really in that action and doing and making things happen, which is, you look at my story, all I ever did was just smash things out. I was just a good mum, and it was this and it was that and it was that. But I didn't know what was going on in here. I hadn't felt for a long time. So I've had a long journey coming back to sitting in here. But my mentor once said this to me, and I just hold on to this because it is probably my favorite thing I've ever heard in my life. So men are often compared to mountains, and women are often compared to oceans and water. Now, the tallest mountain in the world is Mount Everest, and that mountain is half the size of the deepest ocean. And actually, there are oceans that we don't even know how deep they are. They are unfathomable. They go on and on. We don't have the technology to know how deep those oceans are. So if you compare a man mountain over here to a woman ocean over here, there is a lot that we have to give. And we have so much depth, and we've been living on the surface of the most powerful and unfathomable ocean. So I just want you to remember that everything we do that you see here, we've got this much to explore. And that is so exciting, because as we all come more into our feminine, we've got so much power. And that's very exciting. So I'm just going off a little tangent there, but I just love women and just want them to feel that. Okay, self-care magic tip number 1. Your time is precious. Pay attention to every moment. Now, this is something somebody once said to me. that every hour you are given 60 precious diamonds of attention. So every minute you have a diamond. And that diamond can fill your life with joy, peace, and fulfillment. Where are you going to put your attention? Where are you going to spend that diamond? Now, attention is pretty much spiritual currency. So that's why we pay it. We pay attention. We pay a diamond. So are we going to put it into self-care? Are we going to spend a quiet moment with a book or a yoga session or that beautiful cup of tea? Are you going to give it to your family? Have some downtime with your kids before bed, or a crazy raucous family meal? Or are you going to put it into work, into your passion project? The key is, don't let these diamonds slip away unnoticed. And we've all done it. We've all fallen onto the couch or into our bed at the end of the day, and we've had a whole day. And like, you're just like, oh, thank God that day's got done. But I actually can't remember any of it because it's just blurred across. I didn't fully notice how that day went. It just sort of disappeared. So you just kind of like chucked your diamonds everywhere all day long. And no one actually probably caught them. They just got wasted and lost. So something that's really, really important to think about, to know how to spend your time and how to pay your attention, is what's most important to you in your life. Like, is it your relationships? Is it your career? Is it your family? And this is where, if you know your values, that's a really, really important part. Now, my values, well, just the top 3 values are spirituality, community connection, and nature. So every single day I have to spend time in meditation or contemplation. Every single day I connect in with my friends or my family. Every single day I spend time in nature. I walk or I sit outside. And if I don't do that, I don't feel good. So even where I live now, I left the UK 17 years ago to follow my values. I didn't even really know what my values were back then, but I needed that community and connection, and I found it here. I needed nature in my life, and I'm just surrounded by it in Australia. It's amazing. Now, if you're interested, I do have a really great process to help you find your values if you do want me to support you through that. So if you want to, you can just pop that into the chat, and we can explore it further at another time. So tip number 2, meeting yourself with compassion. So how often do you congratulate yourself for doing the best you can? Or how often do you see the results you don't want and tell yourself off? So you eat something you shouldn't, and you're quite mean to yourself because you did that. Or do you say, you're awesome, Fiona, you're doing the best you can? Imagine having a puppy, having a dog, and you've taught that dog to do lots of things, and you throw the ball for the dog and the dog brings the ball back, and you're like, little puppy, and the dog is so happy and he's all wiggly and very happy. But then the dog does something that you didn't want it to do, and you yell at that dog. What does the dog do? It cowers. It gets scared. It runs away. Doesn't like it. It's really obvious when that dog is told off that it's really not coping very well. And if we treat ourselves like that, that's exactly how we feel. And sometimes we attack ourselves, and sometimes we can create that as attacking others. So because we talk to ourselves so badly, it comes out in the way we speak to others. So it's so important, the way we talk to ourselves. So can you meet yourself with compassion? I'm doing the best I can. I haven't seen the results yet, but I know I'm working towards it. And that's very different, isn't it? From saying, oh, you're useless. You can't do that. So the words I am are so powerful. So you can say, I am bad, I am ugly, or you can talk to yourself in another way saying, I'm not there yet, but I'm working my way towards it. I'm going to sign up for this program that will help me. I'm going to trust myself. So who's going to see greater results? The person telling themselves they're useless, or the person telling themselves that they trust themselves and they know they are working towards something? And something to remember as well about this little inner voice that we have, although it's misguided, and if you're on the beginning of this journey and you really do have some toxic self-talk going on, it's simply trying to protect you from harm in probably the only way it knows how. And as you go on this journey and as you learn and you become more self-aware and you catch yourself, this little inner voice can actually be turned into a nurturing guide, and it actually can still offer you the tough love when you need it. So it can be like, hey, I can see you slipping back into old habits there, and it can pull you up, but you have to listen and you have to trust in yourself. Self-care tip number 3. Is everyone okay just before I move on? Yeah, all good. If you have any questions, just yell out. I can't really see everybody because I've got my screen up, but happy to answer questions if you do have some. So gratitude practice. So this, we all know gratitude is really important. And when we're consumed by overwhelm, it's really easy to fixate on what's lacking, what's wrong, what's weighing us down. But when we redirect our focus to the blessings and the beauty that's already present in our life, it's an absolute game changer. Now, everyone's heard of gratitude practice, but not everyone knows how to do it because it is actually a bit of a process. So what I've put together here, and feel free to take a screenshot or a photo of this, is a little gratitude challenge that you can try for yourself. So it's a 7-day emotion journal. So every night before you go to bed, you just write down the name of the primary emotion that you felt that day. Now, you may have had a day where everything was just really great. You had a beautiful sunrise walk, and then you had a great day at work, or you went to see your kid in a play, or you just got to the end of the day and you were like, I just felt really joyful today. I felt really happy. Or you might have a day where everything was a challenge. You didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Your kids are being difficult in the morning. You had an argument with somebody at work. You forgot something. Your car ran out of battery, and at the end of that day, you can see how you probably were quite frustrated that day. And so if you do that over a period of 7 days, you'll get a bit of an overview of roughly how you spend your week and how you feel most days. And, doing it over the 7 days means that your weekends will often be a little bit higher in the energy and the feelings because you maybe not be working. But you'll get an overview of how you're showing up each day and what you're thinking. And then that really helps you to look at, are you focusing on what you have or what you don't have? For example, are you having quite a lot of days where you're feeling frustrated and over it and not happy? And why is that? And the reason I ask that is because what I focus on is what I find. So if you get to the end of those 7 days and 5 out of those 7 days are frustration, anxiety, worry, stress, that's what you're projecting out there, and that's what's going to start coming back to you. If you have 5 days out of 7 where you're feeling uplifted, happy, joyful, blissful, you're going to get that back. So focusing on what you have, why it's amazing, why you're so abundant, it's like finding the opposite polarity of your mind. So, a simple way of looking at it is you go, I've got a filthy house and I have to clean the house and I really do not want to do this. But what you could flip that to is, I'm so grateful to have a house that is so full of people and so full of life that it gets really dirty. And I'm grateful I actually have the time to do it and all the gear to do it as well. So it's rewiring your nervous system. I don't want to do it. I'm grateful I have the opportunity to do it. And another part of this that I also found really, really helpful is the gaps and the gains. So you can imagine if you're starting here on something and you get to here, but your goal is to get to here and you focus on this part, then you're going to find that quite difficult because you're going to go, well, I'm only here. I've still got to go over there. I'm a bit frustrated that I've still got all this to do. But if you focus on where you got to, so this is your gain, that's your gap over here. This is your gain. If you go, oh, but look where I got to. I was over there. Now I'm here. Isn't that awesome? I'm so great. I'm so proud of myself. And then the next time you got to there, and then you're like, hey, I got all that way. I didn't just do that little bit there. I went from there where I started to there. And that's looking like a really big step and a big change. So it's just a really, really good way to support how far you've come and not put yourself trying to push yourself to go somewhere where you're not ready to go yet. And gratitude is the antidote to scarcity thinking. So as soon as you start doing that, it opens up more abundance, more joy, and more peace in your life. Moving on to number 4, supercharging your emotions, the power of play and laughter. This is my favorite one because I was really bad at this and I was really boring and really serious and in my life. Everything was on top of me. But laughter oxygenates every single cell in your body and also literally melts stress and tension away. So it's like giving your body like a mini holiday. It's like you've sent your body to sit by the pool with a cocktail just because you've had a good old laugh. Now, emotions are energy in motion. There are some lovely ladies on this call that know all about that. Now, we have our lower emotions, which are generally fear, shame, guilt. That sits around the bottom here and it keeps energy quite stuck. But when we have our higher emotions, which sit up here, that gets the energy and flowing through our bodies. And so when we allow ourselves to tap into our inner child, we're kind of unlocking like a spring of joy and laughter, which just lets the energy flow through your body and moves lots of stuck things. And unfortunately, as we get older, our society imposes a whole bunch of expectations and pressures on us that kind of rob us of our ability to let go and just be in the moment. We become really focused on our responsibilities, on our appearances, on what we have to do in our house. Oh, I have someone waiting to come in. But play is so essential for our well-being. Like it actually reconnects us to our true selves and gives us that sense of lightness. So I'm probably preaching to the converted here, but ideas to bring back the silliness. Let's start laughing a little bit more. So incorporating into your daily routine, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. Start with something very simple, like just dancing at home. Before this came on, in fact, my son came home and came upstairs to see what was going on. I was up here with my music blaring, dancing my heart out, getting my energy up, getting those endorphins flowing and supercharging myself. So I could come on here and just talk with my energy. I potentially annoying a whole bunch of people with my energy, but this is how I show up, right? And without that, I could have been sitting here going, and then so you incorporate play into your daily routine. And yeah, that's not going to be very compelling for people, is it? So I needed to move the energy. And it was really fun as well. And then my son danced with me for a bit, which was kind of cool as well. So putting on your favorite music and really letting your body go. Like often when you start dancing, you're kind of like, I'm really stiff and someone's probably watching me. And as you go, you can get that, start to move and feel it all the way through your body until you get to dance like no one's watching. You throw yourself around, you howl and yell. That's what women are supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be around campfires screaming and doing wild dances and moving our bodies. So, get back in there, find our inner tribal warrior dancer. And try and find times to really fully laugh as well. Those belly laughs that you used to do all the time when you're a kid, or you like get the giggles at school when you get in trouble. Like watch a funny movie, or if you've got kids, they are the easiest thing. So what you do is you basically say to your kid, hey, could you do a funny show for me? I mean, if you actually ask a child to make an adult laugh, they are like, really? Oh my gosh, that's the best thing you've ever asked me to do, because adults are always so boring and serious and they're like, yeah, let's make mum laugh. That's great. And the amount of times you've probably gone, oh, can you stop with the noise, the laughing? How about you go, hey, what are you guys laughing about? What is so funny over here? And then you start laughing with them. Oh my gosh, they will just be so happy. And it's so easy for you as well, because they naturally have that. They haven't got all those things on top of them yet. So use your children, make funny faces in the mirror, whatever it is that kind of gets you laughing. And spend time with people who make you laugh as well. I'm sure everybody's got a group of friends that when you get a bit inappropriate or something, it gets a bit funny. You know, you don't even have to have a drink or anything. I mean, I know there's a few girls on this call. I quite often think that we might get kicked out of our cafe we frequent with some of the stuff that goes on in the corner there with the hilarity, the noise, and the inappropriate conversations. But you know what? It gets us laughing and it gets us feeling really good. So play and laughter are powerful tools for emotional healing. They just really, really release so much stuck energy and remind us that life just doesn't have to be so serious all the time. So embrace our inner child and allow ourselves to play and just supercharge the emotions and bring much more joy and light into your life. So your mind, body, and spirit will thank you. Okay, we're moving into the fifth one. So perception shift. I think this is probably the other big one for me that made such a change to my life. So if you view something when it happens to you as good or bad, so something good happened, that made me feel good. Something bad happened, that's not fair, I'm battling that. What if you reframed those difficulties as opportunities for growth and healing? So if you start to make space for any challenge to be a teacher, something really magical happens. So something happens and you just pause and reflect for a moment. What is this experience here to show me about myself and my path? And you can start to see that it's happening for you and not to you. And you can change the narrative to I have got to I get to. For example, I've got to do this. I've got to go get my kid from school. No, I get to get my kid from school. I have a child. I have a child in education. Maybe it's free. Maybe you have a car you're driving to get your child. Maybe you can drive. You get to do all these things. Isn't that amazing? You don't have to, oh, got to go get my child. I get to get my child from school. It's all in the narrative that you craft for yourself. So instead of saying, I've got to deal with this, you go, I get to learn from this. Amazing. So it's literally a word. Wee word. Got, get. And it switches the way that you see your story with positivity and empowerment. You are very, very powerful and you hold the power of perspective. So more often than not, I'm pretty sure every single person on this call knows that the toughest parts of their story are the ones that have shaped you the most profoundly. Like, think of a movie that captures your heart. It's the character struggles that when they get to their triumph that makes it all so much sweeter. And your life is like that. You're in a movie and you're not just the star of the movie, but you're the director too. You can choose the interpretation of the events that unfold. For example, a car breakdown could be a lesson in patience or the opening for a new friendship with a helpful stranger. Now, I actually had a car breakdown recently, and I actually had someone on this call who was with me. Now, during that process, I don't know how long we were giggling for, but it was a very long time. We did a meditation in the car while we were waiting for the tow truck to turn up. We were super grateful because we'd broken down close enough to be able to walk and get some lunch together. And we actually had a really fun time and we really enjoyed it. Now, if I'd been in that car with someone who was frustrated that the situation had happened, was inconvenienced by the situation, it would have been a very, very different experience. And again, another example, a project falling through could be the prompt for discovering a new passion or path you hadn't considered before. It could totally shift the way that you're doing something. Or it could have been, I cannot believe that happened to me. I've lost this work. I've lost that. Or what is it opening up? What is it allowing me to do now? So every moment is a chance to learn, to grow, and take the reins of your life. You're not just a bystander in your own story. You are the heroine. You are the heroine. And that, my lovely ladies, is the end of my self-care tips. So I'll just do a quick recap of what I've pulled together for you today. So we've got pay full attention to every moment. Where are you going to pay those diamonds? What are you going to give those diamonds to? Your gratitude practice. How are you showing up every day? What's your base feelings? Meeting yourself with compassion. Remember those I am. They're so powerful. Say I am nice things to yourself, please. The power of play and laughter. Get laughing. Get silly. Have lots of fun. And perception shift. Change to I get to. I get to live this life. I get to wake up every day and have these amazing experiences that I actually asked for in the first place. Now, thank you so much for coming today. I'm so grateful. I do have a little gift for you. I am launching my book this next week. It is not available yet, so this is a bit of an exclusive preview for everybody. But I would like to gift you a copy, and not in this beautiful paperback. It's not actually available yet, but I have the PDF, and I've dropped it into the chat here. So I would love you guys to download that out of the chat and have a copy. It's basically a bit of a blueprint. A lot of what I've spoken about in this is in the book. And there's also, it goes a bit further than that. There's ways that you can support yourself as you get older with your brain health and keeping yourself connected in community, and how you set up your life and your home. And so lots of little gems in there. But thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that. And so what's next? So I hope you've taken some tips away from this, and that your self-care has got a little bit of a boost. We have only touched the surface of what is a much, much deeper journey to really make some transformational changes. So if you would like to explore this journey a bit further, I do have a free, simple process I call a holistic checkup, where we look at your entire life holistically based on certain criteria, and we look at how you could go from where you are now to move towards your goals. So I'm going to just drop into the chat the link. So if anybody would like to book in a holistic checkup, you can click that link and jump in and book a call with me. I also have a free 5-day self-care challenge, which I'm very excited about. If you would like to join this, it hasn't started yet, but if you would like to join it, pop something in the chat and I'll make sure I send you some information. So it will be at the beginning that we'll do a bit of an assessment, and then you do the self-care for 5 days, and then we do another little bit of assessment, and you can see if you're starting to make some changes in that. So thank you again. I'd love to stay in touch with you all. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and that's my link to book in with me, and there's my email. But I would really love to hear from you guys. So if anybody has anything they'd like to share following today, things that really stood out, or would just have some questions, I'm opening up the floor. Anyone want to jump in? No one. Oh, are you unmuting, Leonie?
Just had a look at your book, which is very exciting. It's amazing. I can't wait to read it. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else have anything they want to share?
I could really relate to the belly laugh. I think that's really important, to have a good laugh. It definitely changes your energy, as you say. I'll try and do some more of that.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Well, thank you everyone so much for coming. I would love to hopefully see you all again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Amazing.
Thank you, Fiona. That was great.
Thank you. Thanks, Nadia.
Thanks, darling.
Thank you, Linda. Hey. Oh my God. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Well done. Great.
Give me a drink of water. Oh my God.
You can breathe now. Did you have on the call you didn't know?
Oh, look, there were, but I think they were from the quantum. I think everyone on here was connected to me.
Yeah, that's great though. That's great. Yeah, look, the first one's always, you don't know how it's going to go, and yeah, like it was great, babe. I mean, you've got all the foundational stuff done, which is great.
Yeah. And I know I would like to have been a bit more interactive, but I was like, I didn't quite know how to do that without it falling. Sometimes that can be a bit like no one wants to talk, and they're all my friends as well, so they don't really need this information. So I'm like, I'll just plow through it all, and I've done it. Oh, hang on.
Done it.
Hang on, let me just stop recording.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Where is it?
Yeah, I mean, I always try and get people in the chat box because that's